Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so there was another protest in Los Angeles this past weekend at the Wee Spa. And the protests were people that were against having men in the women's locker, changing room, shower area with women and children. So that's the people that came out to protest. And of course, they were met once again with Antifa. But the good news is, this time, I don't know if you remember, but last time I made a video on this, we were talking about how the police, the last protest really didn't intervene at all. And a lot of people on the Antifa side were going and attacking people, surrounding them, harassing them, following them. And the police kind of stood back and didn't do anything. Well, thankfully, that was not the case this time. So I'll show you a few stills on Andy Knows Twitter. As you know, he covers Antifa a lot. And then I have two videos to show you, which really highlights sort of the mindset and the issues with this group, Antifa. So we'll do that. But first, here are a few stills. This is Andy Know. Los Angeles police beat back Antifa after they hurled projectiles at the officers. Antifa gathered today again to oppose a group of conservatives protesting the Wee Spa where a person allegedly exposed their penis to women and girls. Oh, I have to say this too before I forget. So Angel, she was the woman in the original video, the woman that was filming that video that went viral at the Wee Spa, how all of this started. So it did come out. A few sources were saying, or a few news publications were saying that this was a hoax, that she was making it up. And obviously none of us know, we were not there. But she has been doing some interviews since then. She was recently on Newsmax, and she did describe exactly what happened in her words. She said she was at the spa, and she had just gotten out of some of the saunas, I believe. So she took a nap, which if you go to the Korean spas, you do that a lot. I always nap at the Korean spas. She took a nap, and then she kind of woke up and walked to get a cup of water. And while she was walking, that's when she saw a man walking with everything exposed. And she, at the time, only had her towel around her waist, so her breasts were exposed. And you can imagine how uncomfortable you would feel to see a man walk towards you and your breasts are exposed. I would be absolutely horrified. And she just woke up from this nap. She explained just feeling really disoriented. She was like, did I wake up in a different place? Like, what happened? I was so confused. And then she saw other women getting really uncomfortable, and that's how all of this started. So that's what happened in her own words. And she also said he was fully, all out, and it was a little, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. So that's what happened in her words, because we didn't really hear exactly what happened until she started coming out and doing interviews. So she was on Newsmax. But anyway, they were protesting again, and here is some lovely artwork that Antifa left in Koreatown. And they say that they really care about minorities and people of color, yet they're destroying Koreatown, which is filled with Korean businesses and Korean people, which, by the way, are some of the best people. That's why I spend a lot of time there. It says, efforts are underway to clean up the graffiti Antifa sprayed at their riot in Los Angeles. They wrote SoCal Antifa for the group SoCal Antifa, left their gang signal, and wrote, Lucas, I'm gonna get you. I don't know who Lucas is at all. I'm going to show you this one in a second. Here's some more graffiti that they left. Antifa vandalized buildings with their political messages in Koreatown and Los Angeles before rioting. So lovely artwork they left behind. Police detained people from the Antifa side during today's violent, unlawful assembly in Los Angeles. So the good news is police are starting to do their job again. I don't know if it's because a lot of people were speaking out against what happened the other weekend. And honestly, it was a lot of people that were talking about the violence from the Antifa side were people that probably aren't really keen to what Antifa is and what they do. And it really made me think, because I've talked about Antifa a lot for the past year on this channel, and I've gotten so used to them being violent, and I've gotten so used to police not doing anything, that it wasn't a surprise to me. And seeing, if you watched my last video on the Wee Spa, I showed you a clip of an interview between two radical feminists, and they were talking about Antifa, and it was the first time that I had heard it from a perspective of someone that didn't know what this group was and was seeing the violence and was seeing the police not doing anything. And it really made me think, like, holy crap, this is how normalized I am to this behavior. I'm just used to the police not doing anything. I'm used to just them being able to do whatever they want in the streets and police stand back. And it was really kind of eye-opening to me just how, for lack of better words, I don't mean to repeat myself, just how used to it even I am. And it was kind of a disturbing thought to have. It was one of those situations where I was like, whoa, okay, this isn't normal. This isn't okay. And police need to be doing their jobs. And they are. And it was another journalist who said, you know, if police just push back a bit against Antifa, if they actually did their jobs, they would be so easy to beat. Not beat, but you know what I'm saying. They would be so easy to defeat. These situations would be put out so easily, but they don't. Again, I'm happy to report that it seems like they were really doing their jobs. They were really pushing back on the crowd. They were using a lot of non-lethal measures. People got arrested. So these are good things. Okay, I have two videos to show you. One is just going to prove sort of the mindset behind Antifa. So you're going to see a girl on the Antifa side, and the person behind the camera is talking to her. And I just want you to look at this exchange, because when he pushes back even a little bit, she completely melts down.
History. You need to unlearn that. Unlearn it. That's white supremacists taught to you.
Do you realize that you're like speaking in religious language? You're saying the same thing that a religious fundamentalist would say. You're basically saying you need Jesus. You need to get with the Lord. You need to believe what I believe. You're being a bigot.
You're so stupid. You're calling me a bigot because I believe in
I'm calling your behavior bigoted. Yes, you're demanding that I believe what you believe just because you think you're right and I'm wrong.
I've been out at every single protest and I haven't seen you out. So if they let them.
It's very peaceful of you.
I don't have to be peaceful. They're not peaceful. The white supremacists that came out here with planned, premeditated threats were not peaceful. I don't have to be peaceful. I don't owe anybody peace. They owe us peace.
You know what? I lied to you. I'm sorry. I don't have two videos, but I have a still for you. I just don't know if I can play this. I don't know if it would be considered violent, but I'm just going to show you a still and then talk about what happened, because this is really fascinating to me. So this is a still of a situation that happened between police and a female, appears to be member of Antifa. And basically the police are in a line and they're saying, back up, you know, like what they do. And instead of backing up, this woman instead gets closer to them and says, don't shoot. She puts her hands in them and she's like, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot, instead of backing up. And you know what they did? One of them shot her with a rubber bullet, and she falls to the ground and is wailing in pain. Unfortunately, I don't like to see anyone get hurt. And then another member on that side, maybe Antifa type person, goes to her aid and said, what did you do? I can't believe, why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Let me just give anyone that needs to hear this a piece of advice. If there is a line of officers in full-on riot gear, batons out, and they're telling you to back up, you're probably going to want to back up. Listen to the police. And you know what's interesting? And there's also the narrative, well, they don't do this to other people. They don't do it. No. Look up, if I can find a headline, I'll put it right here. But look up James Madison University. So if you're familiar with Virginia, you know all about James Madison University. It's in this small town like Harrisonburg, Virginia. mostly white college, but every year, James Madison University, the students would have these giant block parties, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids out just drinking, usually around the summer or springtime, I think. I don't know. But every year they would have these huge block parties. Everyone had their apartments open, just hundreds of people. And it was in this huge sort of like grassy area where apartments were kind of surrounding it. It was just mass amounts of people. Well, the city decided to make a deal. It was so big, they couldn't really control it. They couldn't stop it. So the deal was, you guys go out, you have your fun, you have your block parties, but at about 6 p.m., you got to go home. That's your curfew. Nothing after 6 p.m. Nothing good happens after midnight, or in this case, 6 p.m., because everyone had been drinking all day. So that was the whole thing. Do your thing, and then at this certain time, you break it up. Everyone needs to go home or get somewhere. So that was always the deal. And for several years in a row, the people that didn't break up, the riot police would come out and just basically clear the area. The same what they do with these unlawful assemblies. They line up, they say back up, and their job is to come and clear the area to make sure everyone is where they need to be. To make sure, because obviously people are drinking all day. There's fights, there's mayhem, there's dangerous things. So that was basically a deal. And several years in a row, when people didn't clear, they got tear gassed. They got, the police were doing their job. You never once heard somebody cry because they were tear gassed. You never heard anyone cry. You never heard anyone complain. You never heard anyone say brutality because they knew the deal. I wasn't supposed to be here. That's what happened. Oh, well, it's my deal. And I don't know what happened to that mentality. We have gotten so soft. These people do not understand how life works. They don't understand and they don't respect authority. And what really bothers me about some of our political class or some of our media or some of our even local politicians is they keep justifying this behavior. And the more and more that they justify it and the more they don't support law and order, the more you have an individual like this who thinks that she can get in the face of a police officer who's saying, okay, maybe she wasn't right in his face, but she wasn't moving. He's saying back up. You back up. You don't flail your arms and say don't shoot. You back up. You get out of there. That's what you do. But the more they justify it, the more people put themselves in situations like that, and they don't respect authority because they're used to getting away with it. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. The good news is police were starting to do their job, and I like that. But anyway, let me know what you all think. Have a great day, and bye.